What a beautiful evening in South Maui. Wow, look at that. So I've been climbing a lot, which has been great because that's what I wanted to do. And yeah, I've had some interesting learning and humbling experiences with it. Yesterday, I was working at a friend's house who has a bunch of albizzias and took down that big giant Java plum the other day. It was really cool. And he was referred by another friend of mine down the road who has a farm, and he's a rabbi. two really cool guys. And anyways, yesterday I'm getting done with my friend's his trees, and I get a call from another friend, and there's a dead branch from a tree that is above a shed that he's building, and he urgently wants me to come and help him with that. So I decided to do that because it was a nice quick opportunity. And I had ran out of bar oil that day, and I told myself I was going to get some more bar oil before going to sleep. And because I was so tired, I forgot to do that. So this morning, wake up 5:30, go to the gym, having breakfast in Wailuku, which is close to where I'm climbing that day. And I get a text from my guy who's a climber that I've been working with, who's kind of cocky, but talented guy, really good with the chainsaw. And he says that he's not able, or he said something came up. And anyways, my ego just said, okay, I'm gonna get this job done. Because I'm just dropping, there's no rigging, so I don't really need the ground guy. And so I get there, the client offers to help me, which insurance recommends do not do this. This is a bad idea. And I accepted his offering to help me get stuff from my truck, to bring me my chainsaw, and I asked him to check the oil and gas. And so because I had forgot to get the bar oil the night before, the client informs me that I'm out of bar oil, and he offers to get me some of his from his shop. So I said sure, and he goes and he comes back and he fills up the gas and bar oil. He ties my saw to my rope, and I start pulling my rope up, and I finally get it in my hands, and I put the choke on. I start pulling it, and it starts up, and then it stops, but there was a when that happened, which is, I've never heard that before. And then I took the choke off, I start pulling the pull handle, and it doesn't start, which is unusual. So I put the choke back on, I start pulling, and it started, but died right away after once or twice. And so my client offered to let me use his saw. So I said yes. And ideally I would have had a backup saw, which I didn't because I'm just getting started. So he sends me his saw up the tree, and I make the first cut of the day I was going to do with my saw. It's this huge low-hanging branch, and I just free drop it, and as it's coming down, it gets hung up, and over a foot diameter where I cut it, maybe a foot and a half, and it's just hanging there. It looks like this huge hand, and then after that, my client tells me he has to leave, and so I wished him well and told him I'd be able to handle the rest of the tree. And so then I'm using his saw. I'm actually up in the tree getting ready to make a cut. It's one of the last big cuts of the day, and the mechanism starts going click, click, tick, 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 tick when I pull it, which I've heard this before with my first gas chainsaw, and there was this consumable part that had to be changed every once in a while, and so his chainsaw was inoperable as well. And it was earlier than I told him I was going to work until, and so I went to go check in with his wife, and she told me to give him a call, and I told him I got done early and everything was all good. So then after Went to the chainsaw repair shop, and they were completely busy for about, it was a 4-week lead time, and I needed help urgently, and so I asked them, can you please do anything? And these really nice local brothers, they said, okay, well, just to diagnose it's $60, and so he just tears the thing apart. He starts pouring gas on it in the carburetor and trying to start it, and it's going a little bit, and he's cleaning it out with gas. He says, you know what, okay, come back tomorrow before 12, because that's what time we close tomorrow on Saturday. I said, okay. So you have to go get a bite to eat down the road, and I'm about to get in my truck and go back to where I'm staying. I get a text, your chainsaw is done. So I drive down the street, and I go pay for it, and the guy says, you know what's wrong with your chainsaw? I said, no, what? He said, there's gas was in the oil, and oil was in the gas. That's why it wouldn't start. And so, yeah, what I'm learning right now is that I need help. That's what I'm learning, is that I need help. I'm really busy right now, and it's hard to find good, reliable, committed people. And I've hired hundreds of people before in my life. I've hired helpers, I've hired writers, I've hired computer programmers, I've hired engineers, I've hired doctors, I even hired a fighter pilot once. Yeah, all kinds of things, and it is the most challenging role to fill as a tree climber. So I'm hoping to create a community of talented people who are looking for opportunities to get good at climbing, because I believe the best thing to do with climbers is to train them from the ground up, is to find guys who are willing to show up, which is 50% of it, and then go from there. Have a great evening. Aloha.